Hello. Today I'm gonna make sourdough bread, but it's gonna be a while before I can actually make the bread because first I have to make a sourdough starter.
グラム食堂グラム食堂グラム食堂グラム食堂
So sourdough bread is made with a cultured dough. It has a live culture that you have to grow before you can make the bread. So I have the starter culture, and this is brown rice flour, which is going to be the base for this bread. I like brown rice flour because it's more flavorful than regular white rice flour. I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit. So this process will take 3 to 7 days to complete. So you have to feed it flour and water every day so that the bacteria can eat the sugars in the flour. Basically, we're looking for bubbles. If we get a nice bubbly starter, we can make bread, but it'll take some time. I really hope this works because I really want to make sourdough bread and sourdough pancakes, and maybe even like sourdough waffles. So I'm gonna make starter. This is just pure spring water. Tablespoon of water and a tablespoon of flour. We're gonna dry this.
What are you doing?
Just gonna sanitize this spoon. It's kind of the paste we're making. Equal parts flour and water. Then I'm gonna add starter. Okay. Mix it. Okay, and then cover it with a cloth. And then a lot of recipes say to leave it in your oven with just the oven light on, and the heat from just the light is the perfect amount for a starter, but my oven doesn't have that function, so I've just set it to the lowest temperature, which is 35 degrees Celsius or about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So I might just speed up the process a little bit, I hope. And after about 4 hours, I will check on it and give it a little more flour and water and repeat that process for basically 3 to 7 days until it's super bubbly and alive. So it's been 4 hours. I'm gonna check the starter. I'll give it some more flour and water. Remove the top. Not much activity yet, so let's feed it. This time, twice as much starter as the first time. So 2 tablespoons of flour. And then 2 tablespoons of water. And it said it should be about the consistency of pancake batter. So, let's see. Oh, there's some bubbles. It's a good sign. Into its warm oven for another 4 to 8 hours.
48 hours
4 to 8 hours.
in here.
Yeah, but maybe it's just gonna.
What?
It's not gonna be on the whole night. We'll just start again in the morning. Good night. So I fed the starter this morning with 1 tablespoon of flour and 1 tablespoon of water, and it's been about 12 hours, so I'm gonna take it out of the oven. Do the next step. It's formed like a liquid at the top. It should be fine. I'm gonna stir it with a sterilized spoon, wooden spoon. Oh, there's some bubbles. So this part of the recipe, it says to discard down to 1/2 cup starter. I'm just gonna eyeball that. So I'm just gonna take some out. And we don't need that, so I'm gonna just toss it. Let me take a little bit more out.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe that's good. Okay, so now that I've discarded down to 1/2 cup, I'm going to feed it 1/2 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of water. This is again the brown rice flour. 1/2 cup. So it's like 1/4 cup, and then 1/2 of that. And then 1/2 cup water in. And give it a stir. Look at all the bubbles. It looks a little liquidy, but I think it's fine. Okay, and back to its warm, cozy oven.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
Actually, I'll feed it one more time before I go to sleep, probably. It's time for bed. What time is it?
12.
I'm gonna reduce the starter back down to 1 cup again. So let's get it out of its incubation oven. Okay, now that it's stirred, I'm gonna reduce it back down to, is it 1/2 cup? Okay, and I'm gonna feed it another 1/2 cup of water and flour. Here we go. 3 times a day for 4 days.
Are you sure?
This is just the beginning though. Once it's living, it's okay. 1/2 cup? Yeah. And 1/2 cup of water.
But people make bread like this way.
But this is the beginning. After I make this, just take and sometimes feed. The beginning is difficult. I think I put too much water. But look how bubbly it is. Okay.
I hope it will work.
Me too. Yeesh, 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 yeesh.
Good night.
Good night. I'm gonna go to sleep. So I worked all day today and I fed the starter in the morning, so I'm gonna check on it again now. It's been well over 12 hours. So it's time to check it. Almost feels like glue. Except this time I'm not gonna discard any, I'm just gonna add to it. So that when it's ready I can go ahead and make my first batch of bread. So I'm just gonna add about 1/2 cup of flour. Okay. And some water. Oh, and today I got this in the mail. This is white sorghum flour. It's kind of hard to find in Japan, but I got this on Amazon and it's made in a dedicated facility. And it's pretty cheap. It was about 500 yen, but the shipping was 700, so it ended up being a little bit expensive. But I'm glad I found it, and hopefully I can find it in a store somewhere so I don't have to pay the shipping fee. Yeah, this is sorghum flour, and it's used in a lot of gluten-free blends. It's used to make gluten-free beer, just generally a good substitute for wheat. So I'm excited to try it. Cool, okay, I'm just going to put this back in the oven. Good night. Hey, so welcome back. I don't know what day it is, or what number day it is. Anyways, I'm gonna make the bread tomorrow, so this is the last time I'll just be checking our starter and feeding it a little bit. So let's check it out. Whoa! Look at all the air pockets. I think that's good. Okay, wow. Yeah, so it's expanded a lot and it's got lots of bubbles and you can see the bubbles popping and forming. So I'm gonna just do one more addition of about 1/2 cup of brown rice flour. 1/2 cup looks like. Yeah, like that. And some bottled water. Yeah, anyways, the recipe for the bread calls for oat flour, but I don't have that. So I'm gonna make my own gluten-free flour mix. Stir, stir, stir. That's all for now. More to come. Oh look, oh, yeah. Smell it. Sour.
Oh, smells like amazake.
Okay, back in the oven one more night, just to stay temperature controlled. Make bread tomorrow. So now that I have my healthy starter culture, sourdough starter culture, I'm going to make bread. This is everything you need to make sourdough gluten-free bread. So quite a lot of things. I'm using brown rice flour and sorghum flour. Sorghum is a gluten-free grain, but it's very flavorless, so you need to mix other things to add flavor. Starch is in two forms, tapioca starch and potato starch. And then gluten-free bread is often very crumbly and doesn't have that elastic texture that gluten provides. So that's why I'm adding psyllium husk. Psyllium husk is a dietary fiber supplement, but when you mix it with water, it creates a gum that adds a really nice texture. And also flaxseed has a similar effect. So I'll mix psyllium husk and flaxseed in water. That's all. Okay, let's get started. I use Aran Goyoaga's recipe for sourdough from her book Canellet Vanille. I just substitute a couple of things because I don't eat oats very much, so I created my own recipe based off of hers, so I'm gonna use this today. 53 grams of brown rice flour, 112 grams sorghum flour, teaspoon of salt, 60 grams tapioca starch, 60 grams potato starch, and I found this amaranth recently at a coffee shop, and I haven't tried it before, but I'm gonna add a couple of tablespoons. It's a gluten-free grain, and there's a bread that I used to eat in America that had amaranth, and it's really good. Okay, and for our gel, seed gel, it is 20 grams of psyllium husk, and then 12 grams of ground flaxseed meal. 12. Kind of mix it just a bit. And then 350 grams of cold water. And then give it a little mix and then let it set for a couple of minutes. Okay, so this is the sourdough starter. I'm gonna add about 300 grams. Okay, so now that this has become thick, I'm gonna add it in. And just maybe mix a little bit. So at this point, I like to use a rubber spatula to kind of incorporate the wet and dry together. And if you have a stand mixer with a dough hook, that's best, but I just have a hand mixer. Flour surface. So the recipe says to knead it very lightly, so just a couple times. Fold in half and push. Fold in half. Push. Push. Okay. Maybe one more time. Okay, and then make a ball. bringing the edges in and pinch. Okay, time to proof, which means kind of ferment the bread so that the sour taste gets fully incorporated. So I'm gonna lightly flour a small bowl. If you use a bowl that's too big, it's not gonna appear as like tall. So if you use a small bowl, it's gonna get a little more rise. And then cover with plastic and let it rest for at least 2 hours, up to 3 or 4. I'll set the heat to 35 degrees, just like a little warm, to boost the fermentation process. And that's all for now, so I'll bake later. So I've been preheating the oven to 250 degrees Celsius with the Dutch oven inside, so I'm gonna take that out. And just dust the bottom with some brown rice flour so it doesn't stick. Use a lot, so you really don't want it to stick at all. Yeah, get your dough. Okay, and then just cut it 3 times. And then powder with a little bit more flour on top. And add about 3 ice cubes on the side. Close the top. And I cook it at a high temperature for about 30 minutes with the lid on. And then halfway through, take the lid off and turn down the temperature and finish cooking for another 20 to 30 minutes until it's a nice color and cooked throughout. Alright, so I'm gonna check bread. So it's cooled down to a point where I can touch the pot and it's kind of stuck, so I'm just gonna lift the pot.
Ooh. How's it going? Looks good. Smells like fancy bread, not ordinary bread.
It's good.
How satisfied are you?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, this is good. Good luck if you try to make this. It's worth the work. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye. Oh my god, this is good.